We all want love, to feel like somebody cares for us, and to have the experience of loving someone else just so much that it just feels wonderful. Many of us spend a long time in our lives searching with various levels of desperation to find this love. And when we do find it, the most curious thing happens. We feel terrified. Suddenly, we just feel overwhelmed with fear. Fear that we have to be vulnerable and ask for help and show our flaws, all in front of this person who we're supposed to find wonderfully attractive and who's supposed to find us incredibly attractive all the time as well. What we've encountered here is a fundamental truth about love. It is scary. And it's scary because it requires us to be fully ourselves and to show that to someone else and trust that they will accept that and just accept us exactly as we are. A fear of love is a fear of intimacy, a fear of being exposed and seen as who we truly are. One of my trainers as a therapist would say intimacy is into me see. It means really being seen. Because real intimacy requires dropping your mask and showing the parts of yourself that you don't normally show when you go about your life. This is your wounds, your flaws, your anxieties, your deepest insecurities. There's no hiding in a real relationship. These things always come up. And showing them risks that the other person will actually see you and reject you. And that hurts because we can hide when we're not fully ourselves and we can say, oh, they didn't know me. But when someone truly sees you and you've shown that to them and they go, I don't want any part of that, that's when real heartbreak happens. And it happens because that rejection triggers a foundational wound, the wound of non being, which is at the core of all of our insecurities. This wound comes about when we would show a part of ourselves as an infant to our caregiver and they wouldn't be able to receive it. And so it makes a lot of sense why we're quite afraid of showing and exposing ourselves in this vulnerable way. And our fear is a protection mechanism. And that's really good. But when we've grown up into being an adult and we want a healthy relationship, it's time to give that defense mechanism some compassion and slowly learn to let it go. And to let it go, we need to know where it comes from. And like most patterns that we play out in our lives, it will probably come from our childhood. If, when we were growing up, we didn't receive enough love in the way that we needed, then we're going to have shut down parts of ourselves that required that love. And we will carry that pattern into adulthood. And that is what makes this fear of love and fear of being vulnerable feel so terrifying. Alain de Botton from the School of Life has a great analogy of this. Imagine that you grew up with very little food. You had to live in scarcity, and you learned to adapt to this. Your stomach shrank. Your desire for food shrank. You got used to not having as much food, and you got used to feeling hungry, and you stopped expecting that you would ever actually be fully fed. Then, when you become an adult and you're able to afford as much food as you like, even if someone puts a bountiful, wondrous feast in front of you, you're not going to be able to eat it because you're still conditioned and programmed with scarcity. You're not used to having enough. It feels uncomfortable. It feels scary. And the same thing happens when it comes to emotional nourishment. If we didn't receive the right kinds of love and emotional nurturing when we were children, then when we're adults, receiving that feels terrifying because we're not used to it. and we don't know what to do. It feels like if we do dare ask and for and accept this, that the relationship will end or will be suddenly exposed. And as I said, that triggers this fundamental wound that we have. This wound is called attachment wounding, or in other spheres, it can be called this wound of non being. But attachment theory is a very useful way of understanding it. Having a fear of love or a fear of intimacy comes from being insecurely attached. You've probably heard this, so I'll give you a very quick recap. But a secure attachment is when you are comfortable in your relationship, expressing your needs, asking for help, etc., etc. And this is because when you were young, you were given the love in the form that you needed. But many of us, while our other needs were potentially taken care of, didn't quite get some love in the way that we needed. And this can cause an insecure attachment style. And there's generally speaking three types. You can be anxious, where you're constantly worried. And this happened because our parents, our primary caregiver, were too worried about us and they were smothering. And so we absorbed this and were worried about feeling too much. You can be avoidant, where when you did call out for help as a child, you didn't come, your parent didn't come. And so now you think, screw it, no one's ever going to come anyway, I'm not even going to bother showing you. And so you're distant in your relationship, you're not emotionally open or vulnerable. And that's as a defense in case they don't come and help you. And you can be disorganized, which is a bit of both, a bit anxious, a bit avoidant. And this usually comes from quite profound trauma where there'd be a push pull dynamic in the relationship where your caregiver might be really lovely one day and really horrible another time, or generally the relationship as you were growing up was quite traumatic indeed. It is not your fault if you are insecurely attached. It is none of our faults. And it's important to not beat ourselves up about that. We can give ourselves love and compassion and accept the fact that this is our life and this is the work that we have to do. And in order to give, as part of giving ourselves some of that compassion, we can take responsibility for healing ourselves. Because it is only in healing our attachment wounds that we will be able to go on and have healthy relationships and be a little less afraid of love. I'm not going to get into any more attachment theory specific healing things here, but I am going to share two principles that, regardless of your attachment style, will help you become more comfortable in love and vulnerability and in intimacy. The first is recognizing and accepting that you and your partner are flawed human beings and you always will be. Often, romance in our culture is idealized and we imagine someone is perfect. But when it comes to the nitty gritty of being a human being and having a relationship, flaws are inevitably going to come up, and arguments are inevitably going to happen, and mistakes are inevitably going to be made. None of that is wrong. All of it is part of being a perfectly imperfect human being. And one of the scary things about love is that it can almost feel like you're settling to be with someone who isn't perfect. And yet, that's not settling. That's choosing a real human being. Nobody is perfect. You're not settling if you don't like a few things about your partner. That's normal. Because they're not going to like a few things about you either. But mature, healthy love is going into that and being all right and saying, hey, I am a flawed human being, so are you, but let's work together to build a relationship we can both enjoy. And the second thing is that the real relationship happens after the conflict. When we feel afraid to express what we need or what we want, or that we're angry or disappointed or hurt, we don't just deprive ourselves when we don't express that, but we also deprive our partner of the opportunity of helping us. One of my favorite sayings is that your needs are a gift. And this is true. In healthy love, expressing our wants, our needs, our desires, our emotions, all of our hurts and angers and fears at a appropriate time in an appropriate way as much as we possibly can is fundamental and one of the healthiest things that we can do. Conflict is an opportunity to face your fear of love, your fear of intimacy, and to overcome that, and to make your relationship more real and strengthen both your trust in yourself to express what you need and your trust in your relationship to handle those rocky moments. Our fear of love is an adaptation to a childhood where we didn't get love in the way that we needed. As adults, it comes out as a defense mechanism that can protect us from getting hurt in the same way. But also, as adults, we can learn that actually it's okay to open ourselves up to love. And when we're doing this, we can do so gently. And we can share with our partner that we do care for them and that we want to spend time with them, but that we need to receive their love and potentially show our love in a small way and not all at once, just while we're getting used to it. And this isn't meanness or being cold or avoidant, it's just recognizing the fact that we're learning to unlearn such a conditioned pattern so that we can be new and more fully available in the relationship. And hopefully, over time, as we do start to feel more safe and we get more practice being truly ourselves and being received as that, we can start to let go of that defensive pattern of being afraid to truly be ourselves. And we can relax and enjoy and surrender into the fullness of being truly us in a relationship with someone we love. If you enjoyed this video, then thank you very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.